Hello everyone, it's Jen Melody and it's here finally, my tier ranking of every episode in season 4 of Supernatural. I finally finished season 4. I'm sorry it took a little bit longer than the other ones. I got busy, sorry. And I only usually when I sit down to watch Supernatural, watch like 2 episodes at a time because I do not have the patience to binge. So here we are, finally. I'm so excited to talk about this one because this was such a good season. It's going to be so hard to rank the episodes. My favorite character finally showed up, Castiel. We love Castiel. So let's get to it, honestly. Let's just go for it. If I'm remembering correctly, we always name S tier Crying and Screaming. This one's usually, I'm on the edge of my seat. Hold on. This one is That Was an Okay Episode. I'm Bored, I'm pretty sure is what I named C. And D is, I know, is always Trash Garbage. Alright, we're all set, and as per usual, I'm going to read the summaries for the episodes just so people who came here out of curiosity can kind of get a feel for what the episode was about. Again, I'm sorry I'm getting this from the wiki, so if there's any inaccuracies with the names of monsters and stuff, I can't help that, I'm sorry, it's the wiki. I'll try and correct it if I know it's wrong. So here we go, and we're starting off with a really strong episode that's pretty famous in the community from what I've gathered. It's Lazarus Rising, the first episode of season 4. So let me read you this summary. Dean returns. It's 4 months later and Dean wakes in a pine box. He's been freed from hell. He has a joyful reunion with Sam and Bobby, but it isn't long before the three wonder what exactly pulled Dean from hell and what it will want in return. So that answer, I'm going to spoil right now, is Castiel. Castiel's an angel. We figure out angels are actually real, which is really cool because angels were hinted at in previous seasons. I forget if it was season 2 or 3, where we first get mentions of angels. But I remember absolutely loving that, and I'm so glad that's the direction this show went in, was introducing angels. Castiel's introduction in this episode, I think, might be one of the best introductions for a character, period. There's another one that rivals it later on, I know. But this is pretty perfect. He has such a cold stare, and the sparks going off in that farmhouse thing they're in, the lights, and oh my god, it's so good. And the shadow of his wings was really cool. That was the first time we saw that. Yeah, just amazing. An amazing episode. Obviously, seeing Sam and Dean reunite was really heartfelt, especially since I remember crying at the end of season 3 because Dean looked so scared to be being dragged to hell, and Sam was broken and yeah, that was nice, except we know that Sam is hiding a little something right off the bat. And yeah, it goes Crying and Screaming. It's one of the best openers for a season so far. I think what was it? I think it was season 2 also had a pretty great opening episode, in my opinion, where Dean is having an out-of-body experience. But this one, I think, takes the cake. So moving on to episode 2. Are You There, God? It's Me, Dean Winchester. Which, that title just makes me think, it's not a reference to this, but it makes me think of that one song in Shrek the Musical where Fiona goes, "Are you there, God? It's me, Fiona." I love that song. Anyway. Okay, moving on. Meg and Agent Henriksen return to haunt Sam and Dean. Sam and Dean are stunned when the spirits of Meg and Agent Henriksen appear and accuse the Winchesters of failing them. Although rattled, the brothers must pull together and save Bobby, who is too crippled with guilt to fight off the angry ghosts of the young children he couldn't save. Okay, so this is more of a classic episode, where it's like ghosts, but it's also like the episode where we're like, we find out that the apocalypse is imminent, I believe, where we're like, oh yeah, this is like, I don't know if it's the first episode, but it, like, I remember Bobby, like, being like, this is, like, apocalypse stuff. This is from the Bible, the rapture stuff. So, that was interesting. But, other than that, it's not, I don't remember that much from it. I remember thinking, like, okay, but, like, none of the, like, it sucks that they had to kill Meg, but it's also not their fault because Meg was gonna kill them first. So I personally, I forgive Sam and Dean for that, but whatever. Anyway, I don't know. It's kind of an I'm bored. After Lazarus Rising, it's kind of it's a filler. It's a filler before the good stuff happens. But does anything else happen in that episode? I feel like Castiel probably shows up in part of it, and anytime Castiel's on screen, I'm like, ooh, my attention's turned on, because Misha Collins is an amazing actor. But other than that, whatever. In the beginning, okay, this is the third episode. Dean learns the truth about his parents in a flashback episode. Dean is transported back in time and is shocked when he lands in Lawrence, Kansas. However, that shock turns to amazement after he runs into a young John Winchester and Mary, who have just fallen in love. Dean isn't sure why he was sent back, so he begins to enjoy the time with his parents and newfound grandfather, who may be hiding a secret that is key to Sam and Dean's entire predicament. So, in the beginning, it's not quite crying and screaming, but it is I'm on the edge of my seat. Oh my god. I was so sad for Dean. Number one, John Winchester. John Winchester used to be kind of a great guy, and then he was brought back to life, and he was still a nice guy when he was brought back to life, but then Mary made a deal with the yellow-eyed demon, or Azazel, as we learned, and it was all downhill from there. Once Mary died, John Winchester, like, actually turned into, like, a monster of a human being. I hate him. It's so upsetting seeing John Winchester when he could have been a stable human being and a great dad, but whatever. Mary, oh my god. I understand we wouldn't have Sam and Dean if Mary didn't bring John back to life, but I almost wish she just let John die. And I don't know if that's bad, because Sam and Dean went through so much trauma as children just because. And I understand that not all of that is her fault, like John's actions are his actions, but like, bro, if she hadn't just let him die, things may not have gone the way they did. It's so upsetting. So, because of the emotional turmoil, it's going in. I'm on the edge of my seat, but it didn't have me crying and screaming. Also, Castiel's there, and Castiel always has my attention, and he's the one that brings attention to Dean that Sam is doing something that he's not supposed to be doing. So, there you go. And he teaches Dean, like, there is no way to change fate. This was always gonna happen. Sorry, dude. Episode 4 is called Metamorphosis. Sam and Dean argue about killing a man who is turning into an animal. Sam and Dean discover that Jack Montgomery, a family man, is turning into a rougarou, a creature that starts as a human but changes into a flesh-eating monster. The people who are infected don't understand that what is happening until they turn into cannibals and eat another person. Understanding what it is like to be a victim of a twisted destiny, Sam believes he can reason with Jack and convince him to control his urges. Dean doesn't think Jack's animalistic behavior can be subdued and decides the only honorable thing to do is to shoot him. Bro, Sam, I love Sam. You know I love him. I think he's a sweetie pie. And one of the most tragic things that I love about him is that he really wants to see the good in everyone, and especially in monsters, because Sam believes he is one. And he wants to believe that if there's a chance this Rougarou or this werewolf or this vampire can be good, then he can be good. But the tragic part of it is that it always bites him in the butt. So he therefore believes that there is no hope for him, even though he's not a monster. It's not even his fault. He was just born. He wasn't even born that way. It was forced upon him as a baby. It's not his fault at all. But he believes it is, and that he's cursed. And it's, oh man. I mean, it's a typical Monster of the Week episode. There's some Sam drama, but that's really it. So I'm gonna say that was an okay episode. It was not bad by any stretch of the means, and I wasn't bored. But yeah, I just always think that aspect of Sam is so upsetting because he just can't see the good in himself, and that leads him to making not good choices because he believes he's doing the right thing, but he's actually just his insecurities are being manipulated. But after that, we have episode 5, which is Monster Movie. Bro, this one's funny. Okay, the entire episode will air in black and white. Dean and Sam investigate several murders at Oktoberfest. The first victim was found with bite marks on her neck, much like a vampire would leave, while the second victim has wounds that look like a werewolf attack. After a mummy rises from his crypt, Dean determines that a shapeshifter demon is terrorizing the town as iconic monsters from the old Hollywood movies. This had some really funny scenes. That's a really creative way of using shapeshifters, and it honestly humanized the shapeshifters, but I like that, like the shapeshifter, was so disgusted by what he was that he just decided to lean into the fact that he's a monster, and wanted to become just as brave as them so he didn't have to live in fear of himself, basically. And that really humanizes the shapeshifters, but not enough to do like a full redemption arc, which is not usually what I want out of a supernatural monster, so that makes sense. Other than being kind of funny, though, it doesn't have that, and also the, shapeshifter stuff, it didn't have much else to it, so I'm gonna say that was an okay episode, right behind Metamorphosis. But yeah, that's really it. Yellow Fever, episode 6. This one's good. Okay. Dean is infected by a ghost disease. Sam and Dean investigate the mysterious deaths of several men who apparently dropped dead of fright. They visit one of the victims in the morgue, and Dean becomes infected with the illness, which starts as a general anxiety, then moves on to full-blown terror that eventually stops the heart. Sam and Bobby must find the root of the disease before Dean dies and is sent back to hell. Oh man, okay, so Yellow Fever is so gosh darn funny. If you don't know, this is the episode where it has that very iconic blooper of Jensen singing Eye of the Tiger on top of the Impala, and he's air guitaring on his leg, and it's so fun. It's not even a blooper. Part of it made it into the episode, but it's so funny. Dean with anxiety is really fun. He's running away from small dogs. He's ranting about how crazy their life is and how only insane people run after monsters. It's very funny to see Dean as the more scared one and Sam the more brave one. I mean, not that Sam is usually like scared, but he's usually more cautious. And that I just thought it was a really funny dynamic. Dean just really carried the episode. And I feel like even though it was like a disease affecting him, I feel like it actually came from a real place. Like, these are actually deep-seated fears that Dean has that he doesn't want to share. I really do feel like he thinks their life is insane and that he wished it was more normal. So, yellow fever is going in. I'm on the edge of my seat. Above. Oh, is it going above in the beginning? No, I don't think it's going above in the beginning. I really like in the beginning. But yellow fever is pretty high for me. The next one is It's the Great Pumpkin, Sam Winchester. Okay. It's Halloween and Castiel returns with Uriel, a specialist angel. It's a few days before Halloween, and Sam and Dean investigate 2 mysterious deaths in a small town. The brothers find hex bags and deduce a witch is sacrificing people to summon a dangerous demon named Samhain. Castiel arrives in town and tells Sam and Dean the freeing of Samhain is one of the seals that will lead to freeing Lucifer. So Castiel has brought a specialist angel named Uriel to smite the entire town. Alright. I like everything about Castiel in this episode. This is where we first see that Castiel, like, he doesn't always agree with what his like fellow soldiers, I would say, are doing, right? He has doubts about where the orders are coming from, whether they're coming from God or they're just coming from upper management. He starts to question, because Uriel wants to take care of this entire town, right? He wants to kill the entire town before the seal breaks, right? And Castiel is like, I don't know, like, maybe we should give Sam and Dean a chance, right? I don't really want to kill people. And I'm pretty sure this is the episode where Castiel, there's that scene where Dean and Castiel are sitting on the bench, and Castiel, they're looking out at like all the kids playing, and Castiel's like, you know, I'm not a hammer like you say. I do have questions, I do have doubts, and I love that scene. It really is the first time Castiel's really humanized, which obviously he becomes way more human in later episodes. And that's all very interesting. But Uriel's fine. He's just kind of there to be annoying. But the rest of the episode is just like, yeah, it's a Halloween special. Whatever. Samhain isn't that interesting. So, it goes in, that was an okay episode. Just because the actual plot of the episode, everything with Castiel is great, but the actual plot of the episode is kind of like, eh. But I feel like it goes, what was Metamorphosis again? Hold on. Oh, okay. I feel like this goes at the top of that was an okay episode. Sorry, I had to look at what happened. I always forget what the episodes are about like 5 seconds later. It's crazy. Anyway. Episode 8, Wishful Thinking. A wishing well that really works brings chaos. Sam and Dean investigates a small town where the wishing well really works. A teddy bear comes to life, someone wins the lottery, and the town geek gets a hot girlfriend. The brothers realize that while everyone is happy now, the end result will be disastrous. So, wishful thinking is where the very iconic teddy bear comes in that wants to, end its life. Which is a really funny bit, I must say. It's interesting. It's interesting, like the wishing well, where the wishes reverse. had some funny jokes, like Dean also like wishing for a sandwich, and the sandwich, the way the wish is reversed, the sandwich made Dean really sick, get food poisoning. So overall it was an okay episode, but nothing really made me go like whoa. So I feel like I even like Monster Movie more than it, so it goes on the bottom. Episode 9, I Know What You Did Last Summer. I know what you did last summer. So anyway, I'm sorry, I'm singing a lot in this episode. Sam and Dean meet Anna, a girl who can hear the angels. Ruby tells Sam and Dean that a powerful demon named Alistair is searching for a girl named Anna, who can learn the angels' conversations. Who can hear the angels' conversations. The three set out to find Anna, but once they do, Alistair attacks them, and Ruby escapes with the girl. Believing they were set up, Dean lashes out at Sam for trusting Ruby. So Sam tells him what happened during those months Dean was in hell, and how Ruby saved his life. Castiel and Uriel return and demand to be taken to Anna, but not for the reason Dean thinks. Okay, so Anna. Love Anna. I think she's really cool. I love the twist towards I think it's this episode where the twist towards the end is that we learned that Anna was an angel who fell from grace and was reborn as a human. And I love that because looking at Anna is like knowing what I know, because I've watched most of the show. I'm just rewatching it and then watching the episodes I didn't watch later. I know about Castiel's journey as a character, and looking at Anna is like looking at what Castiel will become eventually, and that's very interesting. What else do I have to say about this episode? We meet Alistair. Alistair is genuinely a really scary demon. He is freaky. I do not like him. He is definitely on, like, I think his name is Gordon levels of scary, where, like, I'm like, you are actually insane. And I forget if it's this episode. Hold on. I think this episode is where we first get hints that Dean, something happened in hell to Dean, and Alistair is involved. And we learn later that Dean, was tortured so bad in hell, by Alistair that he took Alistair's offer to torture other people. That's how bad it was. He, like, gave in. So Alistair, like, he just, like, with both of his actors that he had, has such a, like, creepy, like, actual psychotic vibe. So, and it felt like there was, like, actual mortal peril that was about to happen with him. So, this had me on the edge of my seat, for real. And I think it goes above all of these. I liked it a lot. The mad chase. Moving on. The next episode, episode 10, is called Heaven and Hell. Angels versus Demons. Anna remembers her past, and Sam and Dean finally understand why Castiel and Uriel want her dead. However, they disagree with the angels' orders and try to help Anna restore an important part of her past so she can be saved. Meanwhile, Alistair and his demons continue to close in on Anna and the brothers. Okay, so this is the episode where we find out Anna is an angel fallen from grace. I'm pretty sure, between these two episodes, at some point, like, Dean has sex with Anna, which was kind of interesting because they kind of had a cute relationship, honestly, even though it was only for one or two episodes where they kind of, like, related to each other, with the fact that, like they're just trying to be human, but they're kind of failing at it. They kind of have chemistry, and then they move on because they know that Anna's going to become an angel, and that's going to be that. She's going to be on the run. Yeah, I don't know. I can tell in these episodes Castiel really doesn't want to be hunting Anna because he does still see her as his. I think Castiel, here's my theory, okay? A lot of when the angels say that they are brothers and sisters, right? They don't mean it in the biological sense. Even though they have the same father, technically, the same creator, I don't think they see each other that way because they can't, or else they believe they're going to end up like Lucifer. Because clearly the archangels, we learn later, do see each other as, or did at one point see each other as genuine family, as Gabriel describes. I think to avoid becoming like Lucifer, now they just see each other as brothers and sisters in arms, right? They're all soldiers, right? Fighting the same cause. But I think Castiel, because he's always been made a little different, and always has kind of felt emotions. He's always been a little different from the rest of the angels. I think he genuinely does see his brothers and sisters as his real brothers and sisters. And I think it would really hurt him if he had to do something to hurt Anna or take her in. So I find that an interesting dynamic in this episode. So Heaven and Hell can go next to I Know What You Did Last Summer. But I think I Know What You Did Last Summer a little more than Heaven and Hell. And the next episode, episode 11, is Family Remains. The Worst Kind of Monster. Sam and Dean investigate the appearance of a young female ghost in an abandoned house, but things become more complicated when a family moves in. The brothers fail to get the family to leave, but when the son is kidnapped, though the walls they look to... What? This sentence is kind of worded weird. Okay, the brothers fail to get the family to leave, but when the son is kidnapped, I think it's through the walls, not though the walls, they look to Sam and Dean to rescue the boy. Okay, so this episode is one of those episodes in Supernatural where they're like, humans are the scary thing in the world, not monsters. And I just don't think that it does it as well as episodes like, I think it was called The Benders, where it's like those people are so far gone that they actually do feel like monsters. The point of this one was that this woman got pregnant. This young girl got pregnant by her biological father, I believe, and then the father was so ashamed that he hid the babies away and abused them and only fed them, and that was it. And when the kids killed the father, then the kids were holed up in the house, and I don't know. It was not, they were the villains. It was I don't know why it didn't work as well as the Benders. I think it was because I had already seen this, and I don't think I needed to see it again. Though them pulling people through the walls was very creepy. The set that they built where there was bones on the ground and stuff, that was pretty scary. So the set looked really cool. I just was not interested in seeing a very similar episode. I was I feel like I've seen this before, except the villains, I guess, in this were a little more sympathetic. I wasn't bored, so it was an okay episode. Does it go above wishful thinking? What was wishful thinking about again? The wishing well one. Okay, I feel like Family Remains goes above wishful thinking and monster movie, but not above Metamorphosis. Okay. The next episode is Chris Angel is a douchebag. TV veterans Barry... What? Oh, it's just saying that these people guest starred in the episode. Sorry, guys. I'm reading this straight from the website, so... Okay. A mysterious death draws Sam and Dean to a town full of old-school magicians. Their investigation leads them to Charlie, Jay, and Vernon. Three friends who were famous magicians in their day, but have now been replaced by flashier, younger magicians. One of them has made a deal to acquire real magical powers, but the price was extremely high. Sam and Dean must figure out a way to reverse the spell before others are harmed. Man, I don't know. I was just kind of, oops, sorry guys. I was kind of bored. I think I like this episode better. I don't know. I don't care about magician drama. Can we get back to the plot? Can we please get back to the plot? I'm gonna quote Hamilton. Can we get back to politics, please? Anyway, it was just all these three friends, like, being like, we're old and we can't be Who says you can't be magicians anymore? Who says? Just do it. Do it for fun. What was the point of this episode? I don't understand. Like, I guess it was a very sad speech at the end where, like, one of the magicians had to kill their friend and he lost his other friend because of it. And he was like, now what's so right about that? You say it's the right thing, but what's so right about that? That was kind of hard hitting. But that was really the only part of the episode where I felt like I gained something from it. So, I don't know. This was a very, very filler episode, but I didn't get angry from it at all. So, it stays and I'm bored. It's not trash. Moving on, because that's all I have to say about that. This episode is episode 13, After School Special. A flashback episode to young Sam and Dean in high school. Sam and Dean go undercover to investigate a string of murders at their high school. The case causes them to flash back to their time there, recalling Sam being picked up. Oh, sorry, the writer of this wiki needs to, like, rewrite this. Okay, they're recalling how Sam was picked on by the school bully while Dean was Mr. Popular. Okay, I love After School Special. I think this episode's really good because it really gets me in the heart, because it shows that this one teacher in Sam's life really changed the trajectory of his life. But it's tragic because Sam did not stay on that trajectory. He did not stay in college at MIT, I think was where he was. No, it was Stanford. He didn't stay in Stanford. He didn't become a lawyer and choose his own life. He decided to go with Dean and hunt. And you can argue all day whether that was good or bad. I think that's just is the way it is. But he could have had a normal, healthy life, and it just wasn't meant to be. And it's upsetting because that teacher really affected him and wanted the best for him. And he gets to talk to that teacher again in this episode. And the teacher's like, well, I hope you're happy. That's all that matters. And Sam genuinely cannot tell the teacher if he really is happy. And that really hurts my feelings, okay? That, and also the fact that it was talking about this friend, right? That he had at this high school. And Sam really affected this friend and made this friend's life better. But even then, he still, I'm just going to say it, killed himself. He still killed himself. And that's really sad because sometimes that's just what happens. And this is when I'd like to mention that quote from Doctor Who that's my favorite. I'm not going to say it right, but it's that one quote where Van Gogh, they're talking about how Van Gogh, even after the Doctor and Amy Pond helped them, Van Gogh still ended up killing himself. And the Doctor, to comfort Amy Pond, was like, everyone's life is like has a pile of good things and a pile of bad things, but the pile of bad things doesn't mean that the pile of good didn't mean anything. That's not what he says at all, but that's like my paraphrasing of it, and that quote always meant a lot to me, and that's what I think of when I think of Sam and this friend that he had in high school. My one critique of this episode is that they try to, like, frame the bully as a victim of Sam, and I just don't like that, because like they try and like sympathize, or they try to make us empathize with the bully by telling us that like, oh, his mom was dying of cancer, I think, and that's why he was such a bully, and therefore it was mean that Sam stood up for himself. And I'm like, no, just because your mom is dying of cancer or whatever's going on at home doesn't give you the right to make someone else's life like worse. Why? Okay. And obviously the bully in this episode is the ghost that's haunting the school. It's like, no. Just because you're going through hardship doesn't mean that you can do whatever you want and hurt other people. That doesn't make any sense. And then Sam has this like dialogue where it's like, we were just kids and we were hurting each other. It's not an excuse. So anyway, other than that though, After School Special is really good. I'm gonna put it... Where do I put it? Do I put it in Crying and Screaming? I think I do. Do I though? Yeah, I really like that episode a lot. I'm gonna leave it there because the teacher bit really actually made me cry, because I too also have had teachers in my life that have affected me. So that really, I really related to that part of the episode. Okay, episode 14, Sex and Violence, which is, that sure sounds like a supernatural episode. Okay, a siren pits brother against brother. Sam and Dean enter a small town in Iowa where 3 men have inexplicably beaten their wives to death. The guys realize that behind the murders is a siren, a creature that can take different forms and desperately needs love and compels people to destroy themselves as a show of devotion. The siren eventually puts Sam and Dean under the spell and pits the 2 brothers against each other in a fight to the death. That's how I feel about this episode. It's fine. That's the typical siren portrayal. Not much happens in it. I feel like there is that fight with the 2 brothers, where they finally are showing their true colors for each other. How they're angry with each other, but like, I don't know. I feel like we get better brother arguments later. It's just on board. Also, there was a lot of wife beating in this episode. Why is there so much wife beating? Please stop. Yeah, I feel nothing for that episode. It's going at the bottom of I'm bored. I'm asleep. Oh wait. That's not the right episode. This is the right episode. Here we go. Okay, moving on. Death. This says Death Takes a Vacation, but the wiki says Death Takes a Holiday. So I'm not sure what the right one is. But pick one. I don't know. Sam and Dean head into oh my god, I can't read. Sorry. Sam and Dean head into the spiritual world. Sam and Dean investigate a small town where people are cheating death. They discover the Reapers have gone missing, so they turn to Pamela for help. She sends them into the spiritual world to find answers, and they come face to face with Alistair, who has been kidnapping all the Reapers in order to break another seal. Bam! Poor Pamela. This is where Pamela dies, spoiler alert. And, man, she did not deserve it. Okay, she blames, like, Castiel for her eyes being burned out, but that is completely her own fault, because Castiel multiple times warned her not to look at his true form, and she pressed anyway. So that is her fault. But, like, Sam and Dean keeps dragging her into, like, really dangerous situations, so finally she dies, and that's really sad. And she still had the goodwill enough to tell Sam to stop doing what he's doing, which we figure out later, but You should listen to her. She's like, I know you have good intentions, but please stop doing what you're doing because you don't know what you're getting into. So, yeah, seeing them, like, astral project is pretty cool, and trying to figure out how to use ghost powers, that's funny, and seeing this little child trying to teach them ghost powers was funny. That was really sad, seeing someone, like, deal with having a ghost family member in their house alone, and seeing, like, the Grim Reaper trying to make this child feel okay with moving on and letting their family member go. It really did put the Grim Reapers in a better light, because we actually like start to understand why they want spirits to come with them, because it seems that the more they stay with their family members, the more hurt they actually give them. So anyway, it was interesting. It was an interesting episode. I think it's on That Was an Okay episode. I didn't quite feel like I was like I was super attached. So, but it goes above these. I feel it goes right there. Okay. Episode 16, On the Head of a Pin. Someone's killing angels. Someone found Lucifer's sword and is using it to kill angels. Castiel and Uriel have captured Alistair to use the torturing skills he learned in hell to extract information from him so they can stop the murders. Sam is concerned Dean can't handle the job, but Dean agrees to do it. However, when Alistair reveals some shocking information, Dean's world is shattered. Bam! This is the episode we find out that Dean was actually the first seal. When an innocent man, we find out that him giving up and torturing people is what broke the first seal to start the apocalypse. And that has Dean absolutely destroyed. I also, this episode was so upsetting because seeing Dean having to, he's begging Castiel not to do this, please. Oh my lord. And he's still, the way that he just slips into torturing like a glove, man, upsetting. I can tell Castiel is upset and that he doesn't want to force Dean to do this at all. And oh my gosh, this is the episode where, Castiel finds out that Uriel was the one killing angels. I'm pretty sure happens in this episode. And Uriel is done taking orders and wants to kill other angels, right? And that's pretty crazy. And so Castiel is like, who the heck are we following? Like, this is absolutely insane. And Castiel talks to Anna, and he's like, I see this as him begging to an older sister, like he just doesn't know what to do and desperately wants to follow a role model. But Anna, he's talking to Anna, and he's like, why am I feeling? And that breaks my heart, because he's been told his whole existence he's not supposed to feel. Angels are just soldiers, and they're just supposed to do their job. And he is feeling for some reason. He has emotions. He's like, why? Why am I like this? Why am I different? And Anna just looks at him. She's like, no, you have to make these decisions for yourself now. I can't guide you. I can't tell you what to do. And it's, oh my god, I love Castiel, and I love his story. He breaks my heart. My heart was broken for Dean. My heart was broken for Cass. I was crying and screaming. I was crying and screaming. It goes in the middle right here. Moving on. Okay, number 17. It's a Terrible Life. Which I'm pretty sure It's a Wonderful Life is a Christmas movie, right? That's the movie that Meg always references later when she calls Castiel Clarence. I thought this was going to be like a Castiel episode, but if I remember correctly, I don't think he was in this episode that much. Anyway, he's not in this episode at all. Anyway, if the Winchesters weren't hunters, Dean and Sam are living very normal and separate lives. Dean is a corporate man who enjoys healthy drinks and listens to news radios versus rock stations. He works at a company called Sandover Bridge and Iron Company alongside Sam, who is in tech support. It seems as if the two do not know each other. However, after co-workers start committing suicide at an alarming rate, the two find themselves working side by side to solve the murders. I was on the edge of my seat in this one. It's a terrible life. I feel like I do like it a little more than Yellow Fever. And in the beginning, I think it goes right in the middle. This is where we first meet Zachariah, I'm pretty sure. And actually, unpopular opinion, Zachariah, kind of like him. It's like a I love to hate him kind of way. Like, he's not one of my favorite characters. But he's so smarmy and so sassy that I kind of find it funny. So, I kind of like him a little. But, this is where we meet Zachariah, who is Castiel's superior, where he's getting all his orders from. And Zachariah put him through like this test to show him that Dean, like, you were always meant to be a hunter. There is no getting out of it. Even if you don't remember anything about your life, this is what you'll be anyway, and you can't avoid your fate in the apocalypse. That was basically the whole point. I liked seeing how Dean and Sam, even if they don't remember each other, they will always find each other. That was really sweet. But it's also really sad to see that Dean actually does crave normalcy of some kind. And he will never get that. He will never get that. Sam gets it at some points in his life, but Dean won't. It's really upsetting. So, moving on. The monster at the end of this book is episode 18. A very meta-supernatural. Sam and Dean are shocked to discover a series of comic books titled Supernatural that accurately detail their lives as demon hunters. Sorry, it's Monster Hunters, but whatever. They track down the writer, Carver Edlund, who explains he has visions of the brothers that he then turns into comic books. Chuck reveals that Lilith is coming and she has a plan for Sam. Bro, this is where we meet Chuck, and I know what Chuck becomes later, but I'm not gonna say it out loud. But Chuck is really funny in this episode. I love Rob Benedict as an actor. He's pretty great. I love how he freaks the heck out when he meets Sam and Dean. Castiel thinks he's a prophet of the Lord. So Castiel shows up to explain that. What happens? I guess. Oh, that's right, Castiel, my boy. Finally, this is where he's starting to rebel a little bit. He's rebelling a little bit from heaven here, where he, I think he's actually internalized what Anna's told him, that you gotta make your decisions for yourself. And he, when Dean asks for help because he doesn't want Sam to, but like the prophecy says that Sam and like Lilith will have sex, to put it bluntly, and Dean doesn't want that to happen. And so he's like, Castiel, please help me. And in order to get around the prophecy, Castiel's like, hey, if you threaten Chuck's life, archangel is protecting them, and if you threaten his life, the archangel will have to come down and they will have to attack them in some way. So I'm just saying. And then Dean is like, oh yeah, thanks man, and a bond is formed, and it's amazing. So that's Castiel's little rebellion from heaven there. And so Dean takes Chuck to where Lilith is, and Lilith is a threat to Chuck, and then the Archangel comes, and then Lilith leaves, and anyway, they change the prophecy, and it's very interesting, and I like this episode a lot, but it is not a crying and screaming for sure. But it is, I think I was on the edge of my seat because I really like Chuck as a character. Is it above It's a Terrible Life? That's the question. I don't know. I think it goes right here, in between In the Beginning and Yellow Fever. Okay. The next one, episode 19, is called Jump the Shark. Another Winchester brother emerges. A 19-year-old boy named Adam, and Adam calls Sam and Dean, looking for John Winchester, claiming to be his son. Dean and Sam meet Adam, assuming he's a demon trying to lure them into a trap. However, they find out that John was indeed the boy's father, and Adam tells them of his normal upbringing, which infuriates Dean. This episode had me so sad for Dean, because Dean has to deal with the fact, I feel like Sam already knows this about John, like he's used to the way John behaves, but Dean like idolized John, and he has to hear about how John spent like way more time with Adam than he did with Dean or Sam, which is upsetting. Or at least he treated Adam like a normal child, and Dean never got that, and that's really sad. But he still really wants Adam to have what they didn't have. So the fact that Sam is like being so blunt with Adam and telling him like, listen, we're hunters, and if you want revenge for your mom, and if you want to hunt, you will have no relationships in your life, and this will become the entirety of your life, and you might die. Like, here's a gun, let's go shoot. Like, and Dean's like, whoa, we don't want that for him. We want him to stay innocent and go to college. And so anyway, this whole episode had me sad for Dean. Also, ghouls, disgusting creatures. I hated this creature. I mean, in a good way. Like, the way they tortured Sam, gross. But what I didn't like about this episode is that the concept of Adam is just like out of nowhere. Like, why did we need like an out of nowhere long lost brother? It was like there was already so much going on in this season. We really didn't need that as an aspect. But anyway, whatever. Adam exists, I guess. So it was an okay episode. I didn't hate it. I feel like it goes behind Death Takes a Vacation. Moving on, The Rapture. Castiel returns to his human form. Castiel appears to Dean in a dream and says he has something important to tell him, but they need to meet somewhere private. Dean and Sam go searching for Castiel, but instead find Jimmy, Castiel's human vessel, who has only a spotty recollection of being an angel. Jimmy wants to return to his family and normal life, but Dean and Sam are concerned about his safety. I cannot deal with this episode. I'm going to be so real. I'm putting The Rapture in crying and screaming, and it's going up at the top. I cannot deal with Jimmy Novak. He did not. I love Castiel so much. Don't get me wrong. But in order to get the character development for Castiel and for him to become the person that he is, he has to destroy Jimmy Novak's life. He has to traumatize his wife, and he has to traumatize his child, and Claire, Claire becomes an interesting character later on, but it's just so sad. It's so sad to see. And it's also sad that we know that most likely, especially if you've watched up to the point where I know about Naomi, okay, Castiel most likely was dragged up to heaven, right, because he was about to help Dean, and he was about to reference Detroit Become Human, he was about to deviate from his coding, okay, he was dragged back up to heaven, and most likely tortured and brainwashed. Because later in the show, we find out that apparently that's been happening to Castiel multiple times, because he was always different, and he was always feeling emotions, and every time he started to rebel from heaven and think that maybe what heaven was doing was wrong, they just tortured him again. It's like, bruh. It hurts more when you know what's happening, or what's going to happen anyway. So it's upsetting, and then Castiel comes back, and he's like, I serve heaven, I don't serve humanity, and I definitely don't serve you. And it's like, no, you were just about to see the light, Castiel. Now we're doing a step back. Oh, man. Jimmy Novak. And Jimmy Novak was such a sweet guy, and he loved his family, and then Castiel has to take over his body again, and then we never see him again as Jimmy Novak, and bro. Moving on. Love that episode, but I'm also emotionally damaged because of it. We're almost at the end now. Episode 21, the beginning of the finale, when the levee breaks. Dean and Bobby trap Sam in the panic room. Oh, that's right, I forgot to mention, at the end of the rapture, we find out that Sam has been drinking demon blood this entire time, and he has a demon blood addiction, and so Dean and Bobby start an intervention. So anyway, moving on. Dean and Bobby trap Sam in the panic room. Dean and Bobby lock Sam in Bobby's panic room so he can detox from the demon blood. However, as Bobby sees more seals are being broken, he tells Dean they should let Sam out to help them fight the impending apocalypse. Dean disagrees and goes to Castiel for help. Sam and Dean have a big blowout confrontation. Okie dokie, friends. Here's the thing. Sam definitely made choices. Pretty bad choices, I must say. But, also, his insecurities are being taken advantage of and manipulated by Ruby. And not saying that excuses his actions, but it definitely humanizes them. And he definitely was predisposed to being addicted to demon blood thanks to Azazel, because he ate it, or he consumed it as a child and has been cursed with demonic powers ever since. So I don't think it's all necessarily, like, I feel like he was predisposed to it. And clearly he has an addiction, and addiction is a disease, and it's really sad to see him go through it. He's having, like, hallucinations. He's flying across the room. It's really upsetting to see. And Dean just doesn't, I don't know why. Dean is frustrating because he doesn't get it, but he should. Because it's not like he's a saint. Because he started all this. Not saying it's his fault, but also, like, he was torturing people in hell. So when he's, like, calling Sam a monster and, like, talking about how he hates him for who he is, it's like, dude, you're no better. Dean's a little hypocritical. But anyway, you're no better, Dean. Just saying. But that's what's going on. Castiel, is it this episode or Lucifer Rising where he lets out Sam from the No, yes, it is this episode. Castiel lets out Sam from the panic room. And you can tell Castiel is super guilty about it. feels super guilty about it, but he's like, I must follow, good soldiers follow orders. And anyway, Sam goes running back to Ruby. Dean follows Sam. They get in a huge fight. Dean says like that he doesn't like who he is, which is, oh god. And then Dean says if you walk out that door, don't ever come back. And this is where Dean is acting a lot like his dad. And I find this very hypocritical because in a previous episode, Dean was saying, like, you act a lot like Dad. And Sam says, thanks, I take that as a compliment. And Dean says, take that however you want. And I'm not saying that Sam doesn't act like his father. He absolutely does. And that's why they butt heads so much. But, and they fight so much. But also, Dean, your anger definitely comes from your father. And so you can't be saying that when you also act a lot like John Winchester. And clearly they don't know how to not act like their father when their whole life that's just been their main role model because their mother died. So, and I feel like Sam eventually learns, and Dean struggles with it a lot longer. But anyway, that I feel like Dean says a lot of like really cruel things, and there are moments where even in this situation I did agree with Dean, where I was like, not in the way of like he hates who Sam is, but like I agreed in the fact that like Sam was in denial that he was being manipulated and stuff, and he was hurting other people through his addiction, and so I agreed with Dean in that sense. But then he has to say things like don't ever come back, and it's like, dude, stop. But anyway, I was really frustrated with Dean in this episode, but also I was here for the drama. So this also, I just really felt bad for Sam. Sam was going through it, so I feel like it goes right under Lazarus. Oh no, right under Lazarus Rising. And the last episode is Lucifer Rising, which is episode 22. The battle between heaven and hell begins. The apocalypse is coming, and Sam and Dean prepare for the fight in very different ways. Sam joins Ruby on a final run to kill Lilith, while Castiel and Zachariah tell Dean it's time to play his part in stopping Lucifer. Okay. So, Dean is, like, in this room this entire episode, questioning, like, why do you need me for the apocalypse? Like, what's happening? And then Zachariah admits, finally, bro, we aren't stopping Lucifer. We're letting Lilith, who is the final seal, we also realize she's the final seal, we're letting Sam, who's going to break the final seal, which is Lilith, because we want the apocalypse to start so that heaven and hell can fight and we can win, and then it'll be paradise on earth, and we'll rule the entire land or something. And Dean is like, what? And so this is where we get, like, the final conversation that leads to Castiel finally becoming deviant, like I've been saying, breaking away from heaven, where Dean is like, dude, can't you tell that they are saying this stuff? God is not saying this stuff. Your Zachariah and the angels on his level are saying this so that he can keep you in line and keep you as a good little soldier. And this was finally what breaks Castiel, and he decides to help. And he was like, you were going to help me once until they decided to, like, torture you and crap. And so Castiel's like, you know what? Yeah. And so he helps Dean escape. And we don't know by the end of the season if Castiel survives, because he goes to Chuck. And anyway, Chuck is protected by a archangel and stuff. So, but we know he survives. Okay, he was a fan favorite, and also I've already watched season 5. So, I know what's gonna happen. But so that's all great, because I loved seeing Castiel rebel and get away from the angels that have been so mean to him this whole time. But what else happened? Sam broke the seal. Sam had to learn the hard way. We find out Ruby, not that it was a surprise, has been manipulating him this entire time. And we finally see her get killed off, which is beautiful. Love it. Love to see it. Dean kills her. Ruby, I thought she was so cool at first, and then I was like, nah, I want her gone. Bye. And that's really what happens in the episode, and it's all very exciting, because it feels like, I love the ending where it just like flashes to white, and that's where it ends. We're like, oh my god, what happens? So, Lucifer Rising, I thought When the Levee Breaks was a little more exciting, so I'm gonna put it right there next to When the Levee Breaks. And that is the entire tier list. Look, nothing was in trash garbage. I liked there's only a few that I found boring, but I liked most of the episodes. This was a solid season. I loved it a lot. Season 4 is pretty iconic in the Supernatural fandom, so I am not surprised that I enjoyed it so much. Plus, Castiel is my favorite character ever, so this was his introduction, so I knew I was gonna like it. So yeah, that's all I got for you today, guys. I'll see you later with once I finish season 5 and I can rank those episodes. So yeah, see ya.